Hey guys, John here with a very rare installment on my personal video blog here on my YouTube channel. Now, this is going to be a little bit of Star Wars spoilery here, so if you haven't seen Star Wars, you might just want to put this video on your watch list and come back to after you've seen it on Star Wars. But the biggest question coming out of Star Wars Force Awakens is clearly, was Rey Luke's kid, or was she Han and Leia's kid, or was she somebody else's kid? Like, basically, who was Rey? Now, the two primary trains of thought here are that she was either Luke's daughter or she was not Luke's daughter. Now, guys like some very smart Star Wars guys like Christian Harloff on Jedi Council, he believes she is Luke's daughter. I believe she is not. But both of us will tell you, we really don't know. I mean, ultimately, we're going to have to wait and see what happens in episode 8 and maybe even in episode 9 before we really have that answer for us. Both, Christian and I have talked about it a lot, and both of us will go even I go, hey, she may end up being Luke's daughter. And Christian will say, hey, she may end up not. But he happens, when looking at the same evidence I do, tends to believe that she will be, and I tend to believe she will not be. Now, some people will make arguments like, I don't know, hey, the Star Wars movies have been about Skywalkers, so that means she's a Skywalker. And I'm like, well, even if she's a Skywalker, maybe she's Han and Leia's kid, or look, there are lots of Skywalkers in the movie, even if Rey's not a Skywalker. You still have Leia Skywalker, you still have Luke Skywalker, and you still have Kylo Ren. I mean, look, maybe the rest episodes 8 to 9 are going to be about Kylo's redemption story, and it's still going to be about Skywalker. So just because Star Wars movies are about Skywalkers doesn't mean it's going to be about Rey. Some people say, well, she's born with the Force, so she's got to be Luke's daughter. Yeah, but every Jedi in history before Anakin, who was apparently born in some kind of immaculate conception, and Luke, every other Jedi before them, including Master Yoda, including Mace Windu, did not have Force-using parents. They were just born children of the Force. So, I mean, there are good reasons, though, out there for people to think that maybe she's Luke's daughter, and I think there's some good reasons to believe they're not. I wanted to just take a minute and really go into, after I just saw the movie again, the main reason, after hearing all the arguments on both sides, what makes me personally lean towards the she's not Luke's daughter train of thought. And that thing is the conversation Rey has with Maz Kanata at Maz's palace down in the basement after she's touched Luke's lightsaber. Now, what happened is I just saw the movie again. And I very specifically waited for that conversation. And then as soon as that conversation happened, I stepped out of the theater and wrote down word for word what the conversation was. So I made sure I had it right. Because some people on Twitter have been saying to me, John, Maz Kanata says to Rey, this was your father's lightsaber and his father's before him. And that is not what Maz Kanata says. She actually said this was Luke's lightsaber and his father's before him. But listen to the actual full conversation, okay? Now, understand, before I read the conversation between Maz and Rey, understand this. Rey's whole life up to this point has been about waiting for her family to come back and get her. She believes her family is coming to get her. That whatever happened in the past, whatever happened behind, that is going to come back, and she's going to be reunited with her family, whether it's her mother or her father or whoever. That's what she's been holding out for. That's why she's still on Jakku. That's why she told Finn that she had to go back. That's why she told Han she couldn't accept the job on the Millennium Falcon because she's got to go back to Jakku, because she's there waiting for her past. She's waiting for her family to come and get her. Now, understanding all of that, also keep in mind that a lot of people, including myself, believe that while I don't believe that Luke is her father, I do believe that the Force is trying to draw her to Luke. The Force is leading her to Luke. I do believe that for whatever reasons, but I do believe that that's what's going on. Now, understanding all that, her past, she's waiting for her family to come get her, that we believe that the Force is still trying to guide her to Luke. Listen to this conversation, all right? So Maz says to Rey, because, she comes down there and Rey's like, what was that? I shouldn't have gone in there. And Maz says, that lightsaber was Luke's and his father before him. And now it calls to you. And she says, well, I have to get back to Jakku. And Maz says, yeah, Han told me that you got to go back to Jakku. She didn't say that you have to go back to Jakku. She says, Han told me. Then this is where it gets really key. She says, dear child, I see your eyes, and you already know the truth. Whoever you're waiting for on Jakku, they're never coming back. And Rey starts to cry. And Maz continues, but there is someone who still could. And Rey says, Luke. So essentially what happened here is Maz Kanata says, your family ain't coming back. Whoever sent you to Jakku, whoever dropped you off on Jakku, this thing you've been waiting for, this thing in your past, that your family is going to come back for you. They're not, but Luke Skywalker could be in your future. Not family, but Luke Skywalker could be in your future. Listen as she continues. So Maz Kanata goes on and says, the belonging you seek is not behind you. Whatever your family was in your past, that is not the belonging you're truly seeking. What you know deep down inside, what your destiny is, it's not behind you. So Luke mustn't be in her past. If Maz is saying to her, the sense of belonging is not anything that's behind you. This is it word for word again. The belonging you seek is not behind you. It's ahead. And I am no Jedi, but I know the Force. It moves through and surrounds every living thing. Close your eyes and feel it. The light, it's always been there. It will guide you. So basically, to me, the way this conversation clearly looks is Maz Kanata says, what you're looking for, that thing you've been waiting for in Jakku, that thing that you think your destiny is and will bring you a sense of belonging, none of that is coming. None of that stuff behind you. The people you think are going to come back and get you, your family, all that, you know it already, that's not happening. But, Maz Kanata says, the Force, you know it. It's always been there. It's always been guiding you. And there's something ahead. Luke Skywalker, the last true Jedi Master, and the Force is trying to lead her to him. To me, the way I interpret that whole conversation, at least to me, it seems pretty cut and dry clear that Luke is not her father. He's not her family. He's not the one who sent her to Jakku. He's not the one that the Force wants her to be sitting there waiting for Jakku on. Instead, Luke is something different. Luke is something that is ahead, not something that's behind. Now, some people who believe that Rey is Luke's father might point out, and this is a good argument that says, hey, just because Maz Kanata says that doesn't mean it's true. There are lots of things that people say many times in the Star Wars movies that don't end up being true. That's a good argument, and you have to take that in consideration. But for me personally, I see this conversation. I've now seen this conversation in film many times, and to me, this is the defining moment of the movie telling us that Luke is not her father. Luke is not in her past. Luke is what lies ahead. Luke is what is her future. Luke is what the Force is trying to draw her to. So that's the way I interpret it. Different people interpret it different ways. And like I said, if episode 8 and 9 come along and they say that, Rey is Luke's daughter, I'm not going to follow from surprise. I think it's a very strong possibility because of all the reasons guys like Christian has mentioned and other people have mentioned. But I also think you really got to take this conversation with Maz Kanata very seriously. And for me personally, as a fan of Star Wars, this is the one thing that tips me over the edge into believing that I don't think Rey is Luke's daughter. I think this conversation makes it pretty clear that she's not Luke's daughter. But we all interpret it different ways. So I'd be curious to know your thoughts. Now, there are other theories out there too. Some people believe that she is Han and Leia's daughter. Maybe she's a daughter that Han didn't even know about. Maybe, she got pregnant and Han left and you don't even know about. I mean, who knows? That's possible. Some people think she might be of the lineage of Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, think about it for a second. Where'd she get that strong British accent from? She certainly didn't get that accent from Simon Pegg's character, that whoever left her on Jakku, they left her with the Simon Pegg merchant character. I mean, she didn't get her British accent from a guy who talks like 1/4 portion. Like, she didn't get her British accent from that dude. She didn't get the British accent from Luke. She didn't get the British accent from Han or Leia. So where'd she get it? And so some people theorize that maybe she got it because she's a part of Obi-Wan's lineage. Whatever. Lots of big theories out there. I just know for me, I don't know what the answer is. I just know for me personally, I don't think she belongs to Luke. I don't think she's Luke's daughter. I think we're going to see that in episode 8, but maybe she will. Jump in my comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for joining me on this little video blog of mine. I wanted to do it here instead of on Collider because we've talked about it ad nauseum on Collider. So I just wanted to kind of touch it again. So thanks for joining me and leave me your thoughts. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.